Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejado de las puertas. Please stand clear of the doors. Por favor, manténganse alejados.
Because this here's the wildest ride in the wilderness.
Hello, everybody. I'm Alicia.
I'm Nathan.
And I'm Jenny.
And welcome to episode 58 of Adventures and Mousecapades.
This week, we're going to talk about the intercontinental trajectory of weather balloons.
That sounds fun.
Yeah. We probably shouldn't do that.
Probably
No,
not.
let's leave that one alone.
This week, we are actually talking to Jenny about her Pixar Day at Sea cruise, which she just got back from yesterday.
Literally.
Yes.
I still want to be on the ship.
Yeah.
Pixar Day at Sea is a brand new thing that Disney has started. Unfortunately, they're not doing the Star Wars Day at Sea, but this just started off several weeks ago. So this is one of the first Pixar Day at Sea sailings, and we wanted to get that experience and share that out in the world. So welcome, Jenny.
Thank you. So glad to be here.
I'll say I met Jenny through a group online, a fan group, basically. We are fangirls of different things. I think Doctor Who being the big one, yes. And it's just a community where people can share and I guess just, I don't know, what am I trying to say here?
It's a very healthy community.
It's
a healthy community.
It's a safe space for us to talk about things that we like. Doctor Who, Disney, Star Wars,
Sci-fi, Marvel, anything.
Yes, lots of stuff. And I saw that she was going on the fantasy for the Pixar Day at Sea. And I quickly got on my keyboard and said, "Hey, Jenny, would you talk to us about this?" And she so graciously accepted.
I mean, talk about cruising on Disney. That's just called what I do every day. So yes.
So Jenny, who are you?
So I'm Jenny. So I've been a lifelong Disney fan since I lived in Indiana, where there is no Disney. Like as a 2-year-old, I just loved it. And I knew who Walt was, which most kids don't understand. You know, there's a man behind the mouse.
Yeah.
And I used to tell my mom, I'm going to grow up and I'm going to work at Disney, or I'm going to at least go to Disney, because my folks couldn't afford it. It was a single mom. She had taken my brother the year before I was born, literally. Like there are pictures of him on Dumbo and hugging Chip and Dale. And I'm like, that's just not fair. So I told my mom I was going to work for Disney when I was a little kid. And she's like, well, there's corn over there and cows over there. So you let me know how that works out. I did do the Disney College program, which was how I went to Disney for the first time and got to be a cast member. And so that was pretty cool. 17 years after I told my mom I was going to do it, I was a cast member. And I got to show her the parks through my eyes. Which was really, really cool to be. And I'm so glad I had a chance to take my mom to the parks before she passed, because it's just that special place. You know, Disney is that safe place. Living in Indiana where there's not a lot to do. It was an escape from realism. And now in today's society, with so many things that are not so great to look forward to in the world, when you're looking forward to going to Disney or jumping on a Disney cruise ship, you know you're going to escape from everything else. And you can just enjoy that time with your family and friends and have a wonderful time, which is what we just did.
Yeah. What is your kind of, you were in the college program. What is your Disney CV kind of like? How many trips have you done at this point? Like, what's your experience been with the mouse?
There's debate between my husband and I whether or not it's my 16th or 17th cruise this last time. We don't have those numbers quite. But I have visited the Disney World parks and the Disneyland parks here in the U.S. And also went to Paris briefly back in 2008, which is a gorgeous park. It's absolutely beautiful. But I'm a little bit stuck on Disney Cruise Line now. My favorite year that I did something Disney, I did all 4 ships in 1 year.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
So like in a 12-month time, in a 12-month time period. And I didn't plan it. I had just gone on 3 cruises with friends. And then I realized if I go on the fantasy in the next 2 months, it will have been all 4 ships in 12 months. Well, that has to happen.
Well, right.
Like,
I mean,
Of course.
when am I going to be that close again?
right.
And that was a sailing that I did by myself. I did a single cruise by myself, had an inside stateroom with the magic porthole. And I would tell you what, I slept so good. I would just leave the porthole on, I'd take a nap. But it's very fun to cruise with family and friends and also to do it on your own. For folks who've never done a singles cruise, literally you pick what you want to do. There's no, what do you want to do? What do you want to do? Oh, I don't want to, I want to hurt their feelings because I don't want to do that. You do what you want to do. And you meet people that also want to do the same things. And you just hang out with them or you do your own stuff, But it's great for families, for friends, for couples, for singles. Whatever you want to do, you can have a great time on a Disney cruise.
That's cool.
Awesome.
Our version of that is when Alicia and I just do a cruise by ourselves and leave the kids
Or just go on
around,
vacation by ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Alicia and I typically have a hive mind, so there's not too much debate on what we want to go do next.
That's good.
Typically it's read on the veranda or go do trivia or get a chocolate martini at the bar after dinner.
Yes.
Yes.
Or before dinner.
Or before, yeah,
Or
exactly.
before and after.
Yeah.
You're on vacation. You're
Right.
not driving.
Don't limit your options, right?
Exactly.
So, Pixar Day at Sea. What was your itinerary? Like, what ship were you on? It was basically last week, right?
Yeah, we got off yesterday. So it sailed a week ago yesterday. It was Western Caribbean, which I was supposed to sail many years ago. And this little hurricane got in the way. So we went Eastern instead. So I've only done Eastern. So this was my first time in Mexico, which was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So it was Cozumel, Grand Cayman, and Falmouth, Jamaica, which I'd also never been to any of those places. So also very cool. And then we had 2 sea days and then our Castaway Key Day, of course. And we lucked out because the storm came the last night.
Oh.
There was a storm at sea. It was my first time being in like a really big storm at sea.
Yeah.
So when like the hangers are smacking each other
Yeah.
in a closet. And when we got up the morning in Port Canaveral, like our balcony was covered in salt.
Oh,
For
wow.
how high. Yeah. So it was, we had perfect weather, perfect sailing. And then all the folks who sailed out on Saturday, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We took all the good weather. I'm sorry.
We haven't done Western yet. We want to, and my parents almost did a Western Caribbean just by themselves. Several, this is probably in the mid 2000s, and then like their deck rotted away and they had to rebuild part of their house. So,
Oh my goodness.
it changed, but we're looking forward. We're doing a Western with them, Maritime cruise coming up in December.
In December,
Okay.
yep.
Holy cow, that's actually this year now.
It is this year now.
Now
All
I
these
have
countdowns to things.
Yeah,
exactly.
I know.
Something else to get excited about. So we're really looking forward to that. Awesome. Very cool. We've done Eastern Caribbean a bunch though. That's probably our favorite itinerary. Well, our favorite itinerary is
beautiful.
Panama Canal Crossing.
Oh, I've yet to do that.
So is Pixar Day at Sea? I know the Star Wars Day at Sea was, from what I heard, like just a day. Like it wasn't a big thing. But looking at some of the pictures that you shared, it looked like Pixar Day at Sea was kind of something going on almost every day of the cruise.
There was a lot of immersion with this, definitely. Now, our official Pixar Day at Sea was our second day.
Okay.
So it was literally our first sea day. Like we got on the ship and the next day, boom, Pixar Day at Sea.
Got it.
So we really got immersed in it quickly. They always had backgrounds and stuff with the Pixar Day at Sea logos. There's always something around the ship that you could do Pixar Day at Sea. Somewhere there was a scavenger hunt for the Wilderness Explorers from Up. I never found that one. There's so much to do that you're like, you're not going to do everything. So shucks, you have to go again. But there was immersion from the first day. Like, the cast was excited. The crew was excited. We did have multiple days that had the characters out, which was great.
Yeah.
Because if you're like me, who is, really a child inside and wants to meet all the characters, it's really important that you hit all those characters. A couple of them you did sign up for. That was our Toy Story friends and our Incredible friends. So those had set times. But then later in the week, they just came out too. Like they had times in the Navigator that said, oh, Buzz and, Jesse will be out at this time, or Woody and Bo Peep will be out at this time. So that was really cool. If you didn't get into one of those signed up ones, you could still go online and meet them as normal.
Nice.
I will say my favorite character interaction was one you really had to hunt for. So if y'all are going on the cruise, you didn't hear this from me.
Okay.
So it's not under character appearances. It's under the Fun for All Ages, and there's
Okay.
open houses that happen in the kids club, right?
Right.
Which, as adults, we're like, dude, there's like Star Wars and Marvel stuff in here. Like, I want to
there's
go down the
cool
slinky
stuff.
slide. Like, let's do this.
Right.
I noticed one of the open houses was chilling with Ian, and I'm like, wait a minute, click.
Ian.
Yep, see your friend from Onward
Oh my
at
gosh.
this unique experience in the kids club. So my husband and I go up there, and we're one of two other couples that are awkwardly out of place. The kids just want to play video games, but then the counselors start engaging them with this little quest, and they
Yeah.
have to find like his staff and everything and a little book and his journal. And so they found all those things. They're really excited. And then Ina comes out and did photos for a little while, interacted with all the kids in there. And then he basically went and played video games with them. So it was super cute. I've never met Ian or his brother Bartley yet. So I was wearing an Onward shirt that day because I figured nobody knows Onward. I'm going to represent.
Yeah.
And so that literally was the only person I saw with that shirt that day. And Ian was very impressed. But it was cute to meet him. It's such a great movie. If you've not seen it, bonding between siblings, family, it's a beautiful movie.
Yeah. It is.
So it was really neat to get to see him.
Yeah. That I saw the picture that you posted of Ian, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not even know that was a character that you could meet. That was pretty cool. Yeah, and that movie was very good. And I got through to probably near the end, and I'm like, this is a Pixar movie, and it hasn't made me cry yet. Well,
just wait. Just wait.
Yeah. It got me at the end, definitely.
Yeah.
Other than character meet and greets, were there special activities for Pixar Day at Sea?
Yeah, so we had a menu. So all the restaurants had a special Pixar menu, and it was a very good menu. Like we were like, I just want to eat everything on here. They had adult beverages and non-adult, all ages beverages. And most of them came with like cute little trinkets. Like there was a Remy straw. There was a Bo Peep straw that was her little hook. And it had the little sheep hanging off it. I'm like, that's stinking cute. And they had the most amount of like popcorn buckets and drink sippers that I've ever seen, from Coco to a little alien with a sipper mug. There's Woody's boot, which we just wanted like a snake straw in it so it could have a snake in his boot. All kinds of little things like that. Like I said, there was the scavenger hunt with up, and apparently Doug and Russell were wandering around. We did not see them, but other people did. So that was really cool. Then they had two celebrations. One was the Pixar Pals presentation, their celebration, and that was all of your friends from Inside Out, from Ratatouille, from Toy Story. There was a special Toy Story friend who hadn't made an appearance anywhere before. If you've ever seen the short that stars Partysaurus Rex.
Oh, yes.
Partysaurus Rex was there.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he was so
awesome.
cute. So cute. So that was just a cute little celebration. They all did cute little dances. Our favorites were Joy and Sadness, because Joy's all like, hey, I'm happy. And they would take the little memory balls. And when Joy had it, it was like a song that was fun and happy. Yeah. And when Sadness got it, it changed to like, ain't no sunshine. And like Sadness is all sad then. And I love Sadness. Like she's just precious. So then Joy would get it, happy again. Sadness would get it, and she'd be sad. It'd be a sad song. So it was adorable. And then in the late evening, we had a fireworks show with the Incredibles.
Wow.
So we got 2 fireworks shows on this cruise.
Oh, wow.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's pretty cool. And as always, once you've sailed Disney, if you go up on deck 12 or the top deck and you look out, you see all the other cruise ships coming towards you to watch the fireworks. So it's cool. We share with others. So those were the 2 big events. There was Pixar trivia. There was an Inside Out game show. They did have some artists on board as well that talked about Pixar animation and the history of it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of great events depending upon how immersed you want it to be or how little you want it to be immersed.
Yeah.
I do feel like this was more immersive than the Star Wars one. We did the Star Wars Day at Sea, which was great. But I think now that there's like a whole hotel, for Star Wars, you go to the hotel and it's completely immersive.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas, on the ship, you can only do so much. Well, your room is a Star Wars hotel now.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's a very different experience. We also got a cute little window cling that was on our window of Remy and Emile with Star Wars or Pixar Day at Sea. So now that'll go somewhere in the house.
Very cool. I saw something online that there was a special Pixar overlay at Animator's Palette. Was that on multiple nights of the cruise? So as you rotated through, everybody got to see that?
That was just the Pixar Day at Sea.
Oh, wow.
So, and maybe the person that you read it from thought, we're in that restaurant that night. It did change the animations and the pictures that were up a little bit, but it wasn't like an entirely different show like we're used to with Crush or with the animation.
Right.
It was just the theme of the dining experience.
Okay.
So every item on the menu had some relation, whether it be to Brave, whether it be to Toy Story. There was some kind of correlation to the characters from Pixar films.
And were you in Animators that night?
We were.
Oh,
we
cool.
actually were. Yeah.
Very cool.
What was your favorite menu item from that menu?
Oh, goodness. Now you're asking me that, Jordan. That was so many days ago, guys.
Sorry.
We've been Apollo since then.
Oh yeah, that supersedes a lot of stuff.
It really does. I want to say that there was a soup that was themed to Brave. It might have been like a broccoli cheese soup.
Okay.
But all the soups I had were just phenomenal. Like if you've not sailed on Disney, get your appetizer, get your soup, get your salad, get your entree. It's your second entree if you really need it, or just want to try it. But I want to say it was a broccoli cheese soup that was really good broccoli. The broccoli was very pureed.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a very chunky soup. It was a nice smooth soup.
I usually get multiple appetizers.
I mean, they're so good. They're so good.
I also read something that there was a special Pixar breakfast on that morning.
There was. It was actually multiple mornings throughout the ship. And it was a Woody's Roundup breakfast, like a Woody, Jessie, Bullseye themed breakfast. We passed on that to get sleep because I did book it, but it was 9:30 in the morning. And we already had been up late the night before.
Right.
This was a grown-ups only cruise. This was my husband and I. So there were some adult areas that we might have partaken in the night before. So I actually elected to cancel that to give it back to another family so they could go if they wanted to. But I did hear that it was really cute. It wasn't so much a character breakfast that you're used to where they stop by the tables. It was more of a performance.
Okay.
You kind of take pictures from afar. They might come by and wave, but it wasn't like a stop at your table, sign autographs. It was more of a show.
Got it.
I kind of cut you off a little earlier on this, but I know you saw tons of characters.
So many.
Who all did you see from Pixar on this cruise?
So we saw Mike and Sully, and they were in front of Boo's door, which was created from a stateroom door. So it actually had the little stateroom number.
Ah, that's cool.
And then it had Boo's stickers on it. So we're like, it's a stateroom door. And if you're nerds, like if you're Disney nerds, like they knew which buttons to press.
Yeah.
Like we geeked out about that. They met separately. So you met Mike and then Sully. We met Joy and Sadness. And Sadness is just, I love her already. So she was just precious. We met Coco Miguel from Coco for the first time.
That's awesome. Miguel,
We had just watched that movie about 3 weeks before because we hadn't seen it yet. We knew it's a Pixar movie about family. We're going to cry. So we waited, but then we watched it and it was so, so good. So when I met Miguel, I was really excited to see him in his little red hoodie. So cute. We saw the Green Army men. We didn't meet them, but they were walking around with big giant crayons and doing like drill sergeant things and stuff like that. That was cool. Remy was there as well. So I told him, I know you think everyone can cook, but I cannot. So you're welcome to come to my house anytime. He said, he'd stop by if he could. So that was nice. Who else did we see? We saw Woody and Bo Peep, and Bo Peep is in her outfit from Toy Story 4.
Okay.
So she's got the little pantaloons and everything, which I've seen her, but I've not met her in. So very cute to see her. We met Mr. Incredible and Frozone. That was the one that we signed up for. Miss Incredible and, Elastigirl. I know they call her Miss Incredible, but she's Elastigirl.
Yes.
And Nemode, we're doing meet and greets later in the week. We just didn't get a chance to go back and see them. I'm trying to think if I missed any of the other main guys. We met Ian from Onward, but my favorite wasn't Pixar characters. It was characters in Pixar attire. And that was Mickey and Minnie. So Mickey and Minnie got cute little red, yellow, and blue outfits with the Pixar ball like on the back. Minnie had a cute little skirt that was just, she would twirl around in it. They were precious. Mickey had these cute little like Converse looking shoes.
Yeah.
They were just adorable. You put Mickey and Minnie in different outfits and people go gaga for it. Their line, they were. And their line was the longest every day. So very cute.
Well, it's the mouse. Yeah. You
It's
got
the
it.
mouse. Yeah.
And they were in those outfits multiple days?
They were in them multiple days, anytime the Pixar characters were doing their meet and greets.
Mm.
And then we went through the standard. We had a formal night, so they were in their tuxes and their formal gowns.
Right.
We had a pirate night. And then they had nights that they were just in their standard sailing outfits.
Sure.
But any of the time that the Pixar folks were out, they were in those.
Good, because I know, like we were talking about earlier, sometimes like these character meets get really long lines. And so having a unique outfit on Mickey and Minnie is something I know a lot of people would be interested. So I'm happy to hear that it wasn't just on like the Pixar day, that they spread that out and gave people a bunch of opportunities to get some pictures with those outfits.
Yeah, several times each of those 2 days where they had tons of those Pixar meet and greets. So you were definitely able to get to it if you wanted to.
Awesome. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the rest of the cruise. What did you think of Cozumel?
It was our first time to Mexico. Like I said, we booked an excursion that was a chocolate making and wine pairing excursion.
Ooh.
Have you guys ever done that one in Cozumel?
We haven't. We've done the chocolate and liquor tasting on the ships many times.
Yes.
That's
right.
our go-to.
We've only been to Cozumel once, and we were with friends, and they'd been there a bunch, and so they had a local guide that took us a couple places, and we had a grand old time. But we haven't done any of the official excursions, but this one sounds very interesting.
It was very, very cool. So you have to understand, I enjoy sweets. My husband does not, unless it's like a dark chocolate, something maybe with chili pepper in it.
Okay.
Something a little different. He's not a sweets guy. But it was he goes, let's do this one. I was like, there's like wine involved. He's like, yeah, we'll try it. I'm like, okay. We both loved it. So this was an 18 and up only excursion because wine.
Yeah.
Right.
And you went to this little seaside area, and it's basically these ladies teach this all the time. Like, this is their job in Cozumel.
Yeah.
And it's this beautiful seaside room that is air conditioned because it was hot there.
Perfect.
But you have windows overlooking the ocean. You're on the ocean. And they taught us the history of chocolate. They taught us the history of white chocolate. So many people think that white chocolate doesn't have any type of the cocoa product in it or anything, but it actually does have coconut oil in it if it's real white chocolate. If it's fake white chocolate, it's Crisco, they said. So that was kind of cute. And we got to taste all of the chocolates that company makes, pair it with the wine. And then we got to actually take the beans, grind them in a grinder there at our table and turn them into a paste. Then we added sugar and some vanilla to it and mixed them all together, and then made our own little medallion almost that they put into a chocolate press, a little chocolate, like a little cake mold almost.
Okay.
And then they went and chilled them for us. And the ones that we made are the ones that they basically sell for hot cocoa.
Okay.
So we came home with 2 little chocolates that you would mix them with some water and hot milk, and it would dissolve. It would make like this perfect cocoa mix. So it was very, very fun to get to see how they do that. We got to try lots of different wines. And this wasn't here's a little bit of wine, try it with that. Every time our wine got a little bit down, they're like, we give you some more. Then I was like, don't mind if you do. And it's so interesting to see, as you probably know from doing the chocolate and dessert and the liqueurs pairing, that it changes the flavor of the chocolate. It changes the flavor of the wine. My husband bought some of that chili dark chocolate that he liked because they did make one. And he's like, I don't taste the chili as much. I go, because you need some wine with it. But it really teaches you about how that changes your palate. And so there's a nice educational component along with great wines, chocolates, and just getting to learn a little bit about the history of the folks that made chocolate, originally the Mayans. So it was very, very good excursion for us. We loved it. Did a little shopping, little window shopping. Didn't really find anything we had to come home with, but we did bring our chocolate back. We did buy about $70 worth of chocolate. But it's very good. And, we don't know if we're going to be able to find it here, but we're going to look for it to see if we can ship it as well.
Yeah. And that was 18 and up because the drinking age in Mexico is 18.
Correct.
Got it. Which is interesting because I know even though when Disney's like over in Europe or sailing internationally, they still typically, at least on board, and for most of the excursions that we've seen, have a 21 and up, matching what we have here in the States. So that's cool that they adjusted that.
Yeah, we were like, okay, well, I mean, it doesn't apply to us, but that's interesting. Everybody in the group was 21 and up, so I don't think it was really anything that played in. But it did seem that was the reason for it. But it was a great little excursion. We loved it.
Very cool. So you had Grand Cayman after
Mhm.
Cozumel?
We did not book anything for Grand Cayman.
Okay.
So we didn't because I had a goal. Okay, this is the disappointing part, and it has nothing to do with Disney. It has to do with the world. We didn't book an excursion because many moons ago, when I was a young lady in college age, I wanted to hit all the Margaritavilles that I could. And
Yeah.
at that time, there were two in the Caribbean. One was Grand Cayman, which had a pool, and I was like, that's so cool. Let's go to the pool bar in Grand Cayman, get off the ship, and go ask, what direction to Margaritaville? And the guy's like, it closed down for a good 2 weeks ago.
Oh.
And I'm like, oh, well, we'll have to try in Jamaica. And he goes, that one too.
Oh no.
So no cheeseburger in paradise there.
I'm
We
sorry.
it's okay. We probably saved some money,
Yeah.
I would have loved to have gone and swam there, but everybody's been impacted by the past few years.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that we like to continue to travel and go to places and give our love back in money. How can we help to fund these places that are beautiful tourism places if you don't go to them?
Yep.
So we make it a point, we're not well off, but if we're going to travel, let's go somewhere that we can give back to a place that needs it. After Hurricane Katrina, made a point to travel to New Orleans to let them know we still love you. We're still coming back. We know you're rebuilding. Here's some help.
Yeah.
So with that, who knows, maybe Margaritaville will come back again to those places. We did see the one in Jamaica because it was right at the port. They had the gates in front of it. But, the reason why we vacation is not only for the experience that you have, but also to give back to those who are creating that experience for you.
That's a great point. Yeah. Grand Cayman was our last port of call on our Panama Canal cruise in March of 2000.
Okay.
And it was not
2020.
supposed to, 2020.
2020.
It wasn't supposed to be our last port
But
of
it was
call.
March.
But
Yeah.
it was. And world events happened. And then
Something happened that year.
Yeah. And then we had 10 or 11 days at sea.
Yeah.
Because the ship still went over from the Gulf over to San Diego.
San Diego. Yeah.
So yeah.
My face, just so you know, was bug-eyed, and then my hand slapped over my mouth because part of me went, "Oh dear God, you're stuck on the ship." Then I'm like, "Well, dear God, you're stuck on the ship."
It was awesome.
It was amazing.
They
It was
took
amazing.
care of us so well.
We were on the West Coast. We had gone through the canal, and I think like the day after the canal, we heard of some cruise line. I forget who it was. Pulled into like, I don't remember what, like Mazatlan or someplace on the Mexican West Coast, and just like said everybody off.
Oh.
It wasn't Disney,
Yeah.
but they like it was supposed to get back to San Diego or whatever, and they just like pulled the plug on the cruise in the middle of Mexico.
And ladies and gents, this is your reminder as to why passports are important
Yes.
when traveling. Because if you do a closed circuit cruise, even if you have your birth certificate and that's fine to get on, if you get dumped in another country or get injured, you will need that passport to get home.
I saw somebody ask if a passport card was good enough to go cruise the Bahamas. And sure, it is. Like you can use that for ports of call on a cruise ship and things like that. And that's good. But if there's an emergency and you have to fly home, you cannot re-enter via air travel on a passport card. You have to have a passport book.
And if you're worried about losing it or getting it stolen or anything like that, put it in your safe. Take a picture of it. Put it in your safe. You don't have to take it off the ship for these ports. But if something should happen, say you're doing the falls in Jamaica and you break your leg because they are waterfalls.
Right.
Somebody from the crew can go and get your passport for you.
Right.
So if you're concerned about that, still get that passport and keep it in a safe place. But this is your just concern previous cruisers' reasons for why you have a passport.
Exactly.
Your public safety notice there.
Good to have a fail-safe.
Yeah.
Yes.
Be prepared.
Yeah.
So speaking of Jamaica,
Yes.
did you go do waterfalls in Jamaica?
We didn't do waterfalls in Jamaica because I am not a young person anymore. And I have
right
heard
there with you.
of the broken legs. But what we did book, we didn't realize was nearly as risky. So we booked the Green Grotto Caves, which were these gorgeous caves in Jamaica. the history of them is supposed to be that they were pirate smuggling caves and there's all these different passageways and all this. It was really, really cool to get in there because I pretty much love every animal known to man if it's not something that's going to hurt me. And when they shined a light up and showed all the fruit bats, the folks in our group that did not like fruit bats, you could tell really quick. But they were so cute and they were just flying that. And I was just like, they're so cute. I love them. And people were like, I'm going to get back here. But it was beautiful, beautiful cave system, stalactites, stalagmites, water inside it. One of the sections had this very deep section called the wishing well. And you're like, yeah, go check out the wishing well. Like it was like down there. Like,
Wow.
okay, that's a very deep well.
Yeah.
When we got to the actual green grotto, this is the part that I should have read closer. This is your warning if you go to Jamaica. It's lovely. But there are 65 steps cut into the cave, down and up. And they're not like, hey, a little staircase, on the cruise ship. No. They're different heights, different sizes, different lengths. Some of them are like a curly Q staircase that goes up, but in rock. And they have banisters and stuff you can hold on to. You just avoid any of the gifts that the bats have left for you. But when you get down there, it is this beautiful, pristine, clear water. And so clear that the reflection, when they use like a little light and shine it, and you see the reflection back in the water, and it looks like it's the exact same thing above and below. And then they take the light off, and you can see that you can go see through it again. But the water's so clear. You could see the fish. You could see everything in the water. Absolutely beautiful. And then we had to go back up those stairs.
Maybe not the highlight of the excursion.
The stairs were not. There was also a tiny little hole that they called the limbo hole. Limbo, like you have to limbo through the hole. And my husband and I, we partake in food. So there were some very tiny little kids going through that limbo hole, no problem. I didn't have much of an issue. My husband's statement was to the people behind him, if I get stuck, just push me like Pooh Bear. Like just, he did not, I will say, but it was a cozy little crevice. The adults all did wear helmets. We did all have to wear safety gear.
Right.
Because some of those areas were low, even for 5'2" me. So you had to duck down to get under them. The kids didn't care. They were fine. They were doing great. They didn't need helmets. But all of us old folks did. It was a beautiful excursion. I highly recommend it. Just prepare yourself for those steps.
Maybe have a training program in place. Get familiar with your local stairmaster.
Yeah. If you want to do a 5K on the island, great. It'll prep you for this.
Did you do the 5K on Castaway?
I did not this time. We again partook in sleep because that's fun. We've done it before, and we've actually done the Castaway Challenge before, where you do one at Walt Disney World, and then you get on the next sailing, and you do the one on the island, so you actually end up with 3 medals.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I did snorkel. I snorkeled for quite some time and saw all the new statues that they added since the pandemic.
Neat.
I don't think we've ever done snorkeling.
Yeah, not on Castaway.
It's very cool. Because there's like Mickey, Minnie, Daisy. There's a Prince Eric statue. They now have an entire Dumbo ride vehicle underneath. He was a little scary with all the stuff starting to grow on him and stuff. But the snorkeling lagoon is beautiful.
That's cool. We'll have to try that maybe.
Yeah.
On board, it sounds like you had some excitement in the evenings and things like that. What are some of the highlights of your cruise from kind of the non-Pixar standard Disney cruise stuff? Yeah,
since we'd been on this ship before, we did skip the shows. There's the Aladdin show, there's the Frozen show, which I absolutely love because, as you know from the film of Frozen, there's some amazing costume changes that have to happen. And I'm kind of a theater nerd, so I love to watch that part. And then they have the Believe show as well. But we'd seen them several times, so we're like, we're going to utilize this time to meet characters and do some trivia and things like that. We did participate in trivia. We met some friends who became our trivia buddies, and we tried to do it together a lot. And I don't know if they have these on the ship when you were there last. You used to have that winner medallion. The Mickey had winner medallion.
Yes.
Yeah. Now they're characters. So they have little medallions with Mickey, Minnie, Daisy, Donald, Chip, Dale, Goofy, and then one of the ship. So we ended up with Chip and Dale and the ship medallion for 2 trivias that we won. So it's cool now. It makes you want to collect them all.
Very cool. What were the 2 trivias that you won?
We won TV Tunes Trivia. So it was music from, actually, I think they were both TV. It was TV Tunes Trivia and TV Quotes Trivia. So apparently we watched too much TV. Thank you, pandemic. We did pretty good on those ones.
Well, I mean, it's not that you watch too much TV. You're just dedicated to your craft so that you can win trivia medals.
Yes.
It's research. It's research.
We did a lot of trivia. Like our percentage of winning to losing was minimum. But we had a lot of fun with it and met a lot of the great staff that were there. We had our favorite bartender who, when I walked in, he knew what I wanted. And he was like, this? And I'm like, that's what I want. Thank you. So we did several tastings. My husband did a beer tasting, which he likes to do because he likes to learn different beers. You know, you can drink your Coors and your Millers and your Budweiser, but he got to try Red Stripe, the Bahamian beer of choice, on this cruise. And he got introduced to another one that has a very sweet dark cherry flavor and a high alcohol content. So it's almost a wine at that point. That was really neat. And he had me try that. I go, that's great, but I'll take my perfect Manhattan. Thank you. I'll still continue to drink those. We did cognac tasting. I learned all about cognac. That was really interesting because I really didn't know much about it until cruising. And I always wanted to do it. It just didn't work out. And then I did that one on my own. He did the beer on his own. And then we did bourbon tasting together. Which we also had not done before. And I found an amazing new bourbon called Four Roses. But it's a very smooth, light bourbon, if you will. Like it's still bourbon. Don't get me wrong. It's still going to, kick you in the back of your throat. But it's a very, very gentle bourbon called Four Roses. So wouldn't have known about that without the tastings. Notes.
Yes.
And of course, Paulo.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Paulo's so good.
Did you do brunch or dinner?
We did dinner. We usually skip pirate night dinner because it's just not our favorite menu. I'm allergic to shellfish, so there's a lot of things that I can't eat on menus. So I look at it and go, yep, nope, yep, oh, that's got shrimp, nope. So we did go on pirate night to Paulo, and as always, it's just perfect. Yeah. There's nothing not to like about Paulo.
It is delicious. Yes, I am remembering one of the times we were with some of our friends and they recommended trying instead of the chocolate souffle, which is the norm, to trying I believe it's the amaretto
souffle. Yeah.
So good.
That's what I got. Anytime there was something amaretto on the menu, I was like, hello, friend. There's an amaretto cheesecake. There was like a creme brulee that had amaretto. It was just, that was really good.
Yep. It is a wonderful taste for sure.
We splurged on the loaded tater tots from the pub. So it's an additional fee that you can pay for those. They're like $8. It's fine. They're loaded potatoes. Yes. So that was really fun. We did see Wakanda Forever on the ship, and we hadn't watched it yet. So that was basically a Pixar movie because I just cried the whole time.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, that was, but I purposely said I want to go see a movie in my pajamas, which is one of the coolest things about cruising is you can literally take your PJs and just wear them to go watch a movie. There's popcorn, there's soda, or if you like their soft serve ice cream, you go up to the pool deck and fill up a cup with that and take that to the movie with you, is what I did. But it got a little difficult to eat after the previews because I was just crying basically the entire
time. Oh my gosh. Yeah. The first, what is it, like 10, 15 minutes or so, I mean, I stopped wiping my face. I'm like, I'm just going to let all the tears just fall and just deal with it later. Because, whew.
It was, I mean, even the intro with all of the pictures of Chadwick and just, it was quiet. It was silence. There was no music for that intro. And I was like, oh, I think I know well. This is not going to. But they did a beautiful job of honoring him, honoring the Wakandan culture. And, Wakanda's this fictional place, but the Marvel fans, it's real to us. And they did a really, really great job of just honoring that culture and that part of Marvel, and just it was beautiful. I'm getting goosebumps because it was beautiful. It was a beautiful film.
Definitely.
How many people were on the cruise? Did you get a count from any of the CMs?
I didn't. Usually we do that. We didn't. At this time, we didn't care. It wasn't full. Okay. You could tell that by the deck parties and stuff, but it wasn't a sparse cruise either.
Okay.
It was just a little less than full.
Yeah. I mean, it is end of January.
Mhm.
Kids are definitely in school.
Yep.
You're not ready for a midwinter break or a spring break kind of crowd yet. So that kind of makes sense. I'm not
Yeah.
too surprised.
But nobody else sell during this time because it's really awful. You don't want to go when it's not busy. It's our favorite time to sail because of those reasons, and because we're from Florida, it's our cold season.
Yeah.
So when it gets below 60, we just want to jump on a cruise ship because it's too cold.
For us, this is when we want to go to the parks.
Yes.
Because then we don't melt.
It's so beautiful. It really is. It's so nice when it gets this little cold fronts that came through. And that's exactly what came through on our last night.
Overall, what was your favorite moment, if you can pick just one, from Pixar Day at Sea Cruise?
I can't pick one because I have to be selfish. I'm sorry. I have two.
That's fair.
One was meeting Ian because I love to meet characters you don't normally get to see. So that was really cool. It's the closest to Tom Holland I will probably ever get because that's who plays his voice. And the second was, again, I'm a Disney nerd. I was really excited for the new medals. Like having a Chippendale medal, who are my favorite characters in the whole wide world, to take home with me. It's such a small thing. It's a free thing. It's included, with the trivia. You don't pay extra for trivia. But having that small little trinket to take home or to wear proudly, I wore it down to show Chippendale. I'm like, look, I got the best guys. They were happy to see it, It's those kind of things that, again, make sailing with Disney so special. You can spend as much money as you want, do all the experiences, do the additional Princess Gathering, royalty, those kind of things, do the tastings, buy the merchandise. I was pretty good on merchandise this time, I have to say. But you can also go and just do all the free activities, all the crafts, all the game shows, the trivia, and you still come home with great little tangible memories in your hand that are going to remind you of that trip. So that's going to be displayed proudly in my curio cabinet with all my other Chippendale stuff because I was really excited about it.
Very cool.
Would you do another Pixar Day at Sea cruise?
I think I would. It is not our favorite themed cruise.
Okay.
But that is, again, because we are Marvel nerds. So the Marvel Day at Sea, to me, like Loki and Captain Marvel were on that ship, and now Agatha. Like, I need to go back on that one before I would do another Pixar because they've made changes and updated to more characters. But I think, if they continue it and continue to add little hidden gems like chilling with Ian and characters you might not be able to see normally, I think it's going to be a really, really fabulous cruise to continue with. So many people love the Pixar brand.
Yeah.
Those are some of people's most fabulous characters. And, when Toy Story came out, I was in high school. I worked in a movie theater. So, we had all the promo stuff. And I'm like, what is this Toy Story thing?
Yeah.
I remember thinking of how much it reminded me of the old Jim Henson Muppet version of what I call the Muppet version of Toy Story, which is a Christmas toy. It was about a little tiger who they got a new toy for Christmas, and he was worried that the owner wasn't going to like him. And I'm like, it's the Christmas toy with Pixar characters. But both very endearing stories, very wonderful stories. And folks from our ages know it from when we were kids and now have shared it with their families. So it's just that enduring legacy of stories that are going to remain popular for all time.
Is there anything that we haven't covered that you want to go over?
Trying to think if there was anything that we thought was different or, it's great to have the character meet and greets back to normal. That you can actually interact with them and get hugs. And seeing the characters was great. I will say this was my first time I got to hug Mickey since the pandemic.
Oh.
And I'm going to tear up now. That was a little emotional because he's Mickey. He's your safe place. And you hadn't been able to have that. For so long. So that was, let's be honest, that was probably more memorable than Ian in the medal because Mickey's special. And he gave a very tight hug. When I said, this is my first time I've seen you since the pandemic. He was like, come here, girl. so he knew.
Yeah.
So that was pretty special.
That's cool. Yeah. I got a similar hug out of Chewie at Star Wars Launch Bay in Hollywood Studios on my birthday when we were there, when I was in Florida this past year. And I remember just buzzing out of that moment. And then I sat down on a bench a little ways away in the building, and like I texted Alicia, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, I'm falling apart here. Like
Yeah.
that was just characters,
special.
and cast members, and the characters just that's where the magic is.
Yeah.
It just goes to show it doesn't matter. Like I literally am crying here. I'm so sorry. It doesn't matter if you are 1 or 100.
Yeah.
They give us that magic that we need.
Yes.
And as hokey as that sounds, it's so true. That's why we sail Disney.
Yeah.
That's why we visit Disney. Because when you leave, you're not thinking about, oh, this was so great. Like I couldn't remember what food I ate on Pixar night, but man, I can remember Mickey hugging me. Those are the things that make it special. So if you're that adult thinking, I don't know if I'm going to like this cruise or not, there's plenty to do. There's plenty to do. But if you're also that family that's like, are my kids going to like it? You're not going to see them because they're going to go to the kids club and not want to even come to dinner with you. But it's what makes it what it is. It's what makes the magic.
Yeah.
It's the little touches. It's the cast members that are happy to be there and do everything they can to make it special.
I have my little Doug here with me today, my little plushy Doug. He's a little big feet Doug. If you've not seen him, he's adorable.
So cute.
Because I'm a grown-up who has a plushie, my stateroom host would always put him in different positions looking at the tall animals he made. So every day when I came in, Doug was like, ooh. He made a bat one night, which was right after Jamaica and the bats. I don't know if you heard me talking about it. I don't know if he's stalking my Facebook, but he made a bat the night of Jamaica. And Doug's like looking up at it like, oh, there's a bat up there. Like those little things. Yeah. We didn't have any kids in our cabin, but he still made it fun for us. So yeah,
That's
it's perfect.
awesome.
It's really perfect.
That's awesome. Well, Alicia, I think it's time for kind of our lightning round of favorites.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Favorites.
Jenny, if you're ready, and even if you're not, here we go.
I have no idea this was happening, so I'm excited. A little scared.
I think we know the answer to the first one, though.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm just going to go over a bunch of your favorites. It can be Disney, anything Disney related. So Star Wars, Marvel, Pixar, Disney classics.
Cool.
First off, your favorite character.
I think that's Chip and Dale. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Totally. 100%. Yeah. My voice.
Your favorite movie.
The Fox and the Hound.
Oh, that is such a good one. Copper and Tot. Yep.
They are also in my curio cabinet with Chip and Dale.
Nice.
Like, I have sections devoted to both of them.
Your favorite ride.
The Haunted Mansion.
Yay. Yeah. I totally agree.
My mom talked about that when I was little. We had a little pop-up book from the 70s that had a little ghost jumping out behind the tombstones. And so when I first went to Disney, I was with some friends who were like Disney nerds, have been there a billion times. And they're like, what do you want to go do first? I'm like, the Haunted Mansion. And they're like, well, I'm like, you go up to Partners, you make a left, you go through Liberty Square, it's on the right. And they're like, you've never been here before. I'm like, I've been planning this my whole life. So that was the very first thing that I did at the parks as well.
That's awesome. Lovely. Disney World or Disneyland?
It's not fair. It's not fair. and here's why. So Disney World, first parks I ever went to, huge, expansive. When you go to Disney World, those who have been know that you don't have to see the outside world at all. Yeah. You don't have to leave property. Yep. When you go to Disneyland, you're walking where Walt actually was. Yeah. Walt saw Disney World when it was swampland and orange groves, but he actually stayed at Disneyland in the firehouse. When I got to see that firehouse, you are going to realize I'm a crier now. When I got to go into the firehouse one time, I cried. And then I also thought how strange it was that I was looking at Walt Disney's bathroom, because you don't, it's like a TV show character. You don't think of them going to the bathroom. Yeah. Like, that's Walt's bathroom. That's so weird. But you like it for two different things. I feel like Disney World was his dream. It was everything that he hoped he could achieve, but he was limited by space at Disneyland. So Roy took that and continued his dream in Disney World. So it two different reasons. I can't say either one's my favorite. Each one has different types of goosebumps that occur because of how special they are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you're not going to like my next question.
Oh, no.
What is your favorite park that you have visited? This is worldwide, because I know you said you've been to Disneyland Paris too.
I've never thought about Paris being a favorite. Like Hollywood Studios, MGM Studios was where I worked as a CP. So that's near and dear to me because of that. It's such a cool park, and all the little bits to Hollywood and its history, and things like the space available sign for where Walt rented his first office from that's there. And if you don't know that, just get a book and read all about the geeky, nerdy Hollywood studio stuff. Roger Rabbit's silhouette up there.
There's so many
There's
little Easter eggs there. Yeah,
cool things at that park. That the other parks have some neat stuff, but the studios, the folks that loved Hollywood really left imprints in that park.
Yeah.
But I'm really wanting to go back to Paris. My dream park, though, is Tokyo. Because I hear those little guys that I really like, Chippendale, are very popular there. And the merchandise is just off the wall between them and Duffy and Friends. And the detail of the Tokyo park as well is just beautiful. So I hope to make it there someday.
Yep. Do you have a favorite hotel or resort that you visited?
The Wilderness Lodge is my favorite. I just think it's beautiful, and the fireplace, and my favorite restaurant used to be in there when Artist Point had all the old the game meat. So it had your venison and your buffalo and wild boar. I just thought such an unusual restaurant. Now it is Storytellers with Snow White and Friends, which is so popular, and I'm glad that it is, because Artist Point, we could always get in. Because not everybody wants to eat buffalo steak. I did, but not everybody does. And I think they still have the berry cobbler that used to make there too at Storytellers now. So that was very good. But Wilderness Lodge, I just think is beautiful. I stayed there once in concierge. So you have that top floor. You get to watch the light parade, the water pageant from the window. And it's just a beautiful resort. It's just stunning. Have you been in the DVC club area?
We will be there in March.
Okay, so when you go down to the GVC club area, they have like a little lobby and a little lounge. Some of the train cars on display are the original ones from Walt Disney's Carolwood Railway that used to be in his backyard.
Wow. We will have to take a look at that. Definitely.
So there's some on display at the Walt Disney Museum up in San Francisco. And some of the others are encased in glass right there at the Wilderness Lodge. So you can get yourself a little beverage, sit down by the fire in there, and just stare at Walt's former train cars that he used to ride around on in his backyard.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yes. Now, you've been on all the Disney ships, haven't you?
I have.
Do you have a favorite?
So I have a personal favorite and I have a family favorite.
Okay.
So the fantasy to my husband and I, it's the perfect ship. Like everything that they had to work out the kinks on and other ships and stuff, the fantasy it's great. We obviously are adults. We go to the adult area, partake in some adult beverages. Europa is a fantastic club district. We really enjoy Skyline, which they also have in the Dream. But it's just different because we walk out of Skyline, the fantasy, and there's O'Gill's Pub. And you're like, this is like my little home away from home. I love it. So we really, really love the fantasy. It was the first one that I took my husband on when we were dating. Within a month of dating, I had just gotten back from the fantasy in November. And in January, I was like, do you want to go on a cruise with me? And he's like, I've been dating like a couple months. I'm like, yeah, it's for a week. And he's like, I'm kind of doing a trial run here to see if you will fit in my world or not. So we went on the fantasy within a couple months of starting to date. We started dating in October, and he lived in Florida. He grew up in Florida. His idea of Disney back in the day was as a teenager, like going to the parks and kind of being a punk. So he wasn't a Disney fan until I got him on the cruise ships. And now he's like, I just want to be back on the ships. We go again. So that's our family favorite. The first ship I ever sailed was the Wonder. It has Ariel at the helm, or not at the helm, in the atrium, who was my favorite princess as a little girl. And they've added Tiana's restaurant and now a bar themed to Tiana where the Promenade Lounge used to be. And I adore Tiana. That show and the Rapunzel show on the Magic, those dinner shows, are two of the best experiences that the cruise ships have to offer. And so the Wonder, since she was my first ship, she's got that Ariel statue. She's got Tiana's restaurant. It's got my favorite bar, which is the Cadillac Lounge. There's this old Cadillac hanging out behind the bar, which is a great martini bar. Best place to just chill, listen to some pianists play whatever music they're playing that night. Look out the window, see the sea. I would be there right now again if I could.
Yes.
The
Wonders are
right along there with you. Yep. Do you have a favorite sit-down restaurant meal?
I love the show of Tiana and Rapunzel's, but original animators, because of the little surprise at the end. The original animators, the restaurant starts in black and white, and then it changes to Technicolor over the courses, just like any art did. So it was very cool. They come to life. There's video. But then they play the Fantasmic theme song, and Mickey Mouse comes out in his sorcerer's outfit.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And one guess what I'm doing at this point? I am crying again. Because it's just, you don't expect it.
Yeah.
The first time I ever saw that, I was like, we were on a Disney ship. This is the greatest thing ever. And so we always request a start at animators because that was just a nice start to the cruise.
Yeah.
I think they may keep it on like the longer ones,
Yes,
where there's
yes.
where people are hitting animators like
Multiple
multiple times, and they do
Yeah.
it for one of those. But yes, I love that one so much.
Just such a neat touch.
Mhm.
I have that soundtrack going through my head right now.
Yeah, there you
Thank
go.
you.
You're welcome.
What about in the parks or resorts? Do you have a favorite sit-down restaurant meal there?
So I really like Mishukoshi, which is now called Teppanydo, the sit-down Japanese
Yeah.
restaurant. And folks that are like, we've been to Benihana, we've been to, it's different. Now, the cultural program isn't all completely back yet, but there are a lot of native Japanese folks that work at the park. So the thing that I find really interesting about going there is you always know you're going to be served by somebody from Japan who has that history and heritage. I think going up the steps to the restaurant that aren't 65 steps in stone. Well, they are in stone, but not in a cave. It's just a great experience. Like you're just going up into this temple and you're going to have this meal. I always think that little bit of a show is fun that they do there. It's a place that I like to take folks to, especially if they've never been to a Benihana or any of those hibachi type grills. 50s prime time is always a favorite because it's just so cute and kitschy. It's great.
It is.
They have one of the greatest appetizers, which is the fried brie with a raspberry drizzle. If you were a cheese person, I want that right now. I already said Artist Point was my absolute favorite back in the day. I'm trying to think if there's any. I mean, California Grill is going to be that bougie one that, you just go up and you see all the fireworks and everything from. So that's beautiful too. Yeah, there's so many great ones.
There are. Last one. Do you have a favorite Disney snack?
I mean, I'm a standard popcorn girl. Disney popcorn
That's
tastes
fair.
different than anybody else's. It has a different flavoring to it. Anything with boba pearls in it.
Oh, yeah.
Boba pearls. The first time I had a dessert with boba pearls, it was during Star Wars weekends when the dining locations debuted and Sci-Fi Dine-In had a dessert that had boba pearls in it. And they used boba pearls because Boba Fett.
Boba Fett, yeah.
So now when I have something with boba pearls, I'm like, ooh, it's like Boba Fett pearls. These are cool.
I'm a churro person myself.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Disneyland churro, though. Not the Disney World churros are.
You just triggered me.
Oh.
Disneyland corn dog cart, corn dogs.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
it. That's my favorite Disney
that's
snack.
Your favorite.
Not corn dog castle over at DCA. The corn dog cart in Disneyland Park. Those are the best. Close second, corn dog nuggets at Casey's.
Nice.
Close second. But the corn dogs from
There you go.
when we go to
You heard it
Disneyland,
here.
I don't care what time it is. If it's open, I'm going to go get a corn dog.
Going over.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Jenny, this has been lovely. Thank you so much for talking with us.
Thank you for
and
having me.
telling
I mean,
us all about
I'm happy to talk all about Disney all the time.
As are we, which is why we started doing this.
Yeah. No blame you.
Yes. Well, thanks again. And I'm sure we will talk to you again on your next cruise adventure.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day and happy sailing, everyone.
Well, thank you so much to Jenny for taking time and speaking with us both on and off the record.
Indeed.
We had a great conversation. It was so interesting to learn about the Pixar Day at Sea cruise.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. She had a lot of fun, and we had a great time talking with Jenny all about it and some other things that you aren't going to hear, but it's okay.
No.
We have to have sources somewhere.
Exactly.
With that said, we are obviously not affiliated with Disney, and we are not travel agents. While we can offer our opinions and suggestions, we recommend working with a travel agent to plan your perfect vacation.
If you have any questions or suggestions, or would like to talk with us on the show and share your Disney experience, please send an email to podcast@adventuresandmousecapades.com.
Give us a follow on social media. We're at Our Mousecapades on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter.
Insta-twit face.
Please leave us a rating and a review in your favorite podcast app to help game the algorithm and point more people in our direction.
Indeed. Thank you for listening. We'll be in your ears next week.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for flying Star Tours. Bye-bye.